What's up, guys? On this week's show, we review Netflix's Flint, Deadpool series gets canceled, and X-Men Dark Phoenix plus New Mutants gets pushed back again. All that and more on this episode of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared, and with me is not my co-host, but a special guest who asked to not get a cool little nickname. Go ahead, you can tell the people.
Hi, I'm Amber.
Wow, that was anticlimactic.
Meh.
It was like all that build up for that. Yeah, no, unfortunately, DJ Melly Mel couldn't be here tonight, but I still was able to snag somebody in here for you guys, so you just didn't have to listen to me drone on the entire time. Which I don't know why else you would be listening to this if you don't like hearing me talk, but whatever. It's like hate, fucking, like it's like I hate you, but I keep listening.
I can't stop listening to you.
Right, exactly. It's like that person that you stalk on Facebook that you fucking hate their guts. Yeah, and it's just like you look at it through all their pictures and shit, and it's like I fucking hate you so much.
Oh my god.
Look at them on the beach being happy. Like, oh, they got married. Fuck you.
I don't think anyone does that.
Man, you ain't on the internet enough. Anyway, this week I wanted to go ahead and jump into this because this was one of the stories that I actually came across later in putting the show together. But when I saw it, I was like, oh no, this is the first thing I got to talk about, because I was like, what? So apparently GameStop is doing some kind of promotion that they are actually giving more money for used systems. Now, I know, right? that is a joke in and of itself. Now,
money.
If you're not a gamer, or if you don't, if you've never been to a GameStop before, which I can't imagine someone has never been to a GameStop before. I mean, I guess depending on your age demographic, but whatever.
Or sheltered people.
Right. I am Amish. Thank you very much. How are you listening to this? It's like I have my ways. But no, yeah, GameStop is doing some kind of promotion where from March 30th to April 15th, they are going to be giving out more money than what they normally would for consoles. I'm getting this from comicbook.com. A quote from GameStop. They say, "We're delivering on our promise to give customers better trade-in deals they can't refuse on top products. I'm sorry. The right products with the right deals. We're not talking pocket change either," said Bob Pouzin, Senior Vice President of Merchandising for GameStop. "Who doesn't want to earn an extra $40 to $80 on video game hardware that's just sitting around the house collecting dust? We're going all out on behalf of our customers. In several cases, they can walk away with more than $200 extra cash in their pockets." It says that can help to fund the latest versions of new consoles like the Nintendo Switch or the Xbox One X. I love how he's like plugging shit.
Or to just keep their stores open.
Okay, we're gonna get there. or new game releases like Far Cry 5 plus top Funko Pop collectibles and more. Like, what is the more? Like, y'all still got Pokemon cards? Like, oh god!
You can buy a cell phone here. You can buy headphones here.
Yeah, no, that's true. So if you've never been to a GameStop, they are notorious for not giving out.
You get $2 and you get $2.
Pretty much, it's like you could go up there with a fucking Xbox, a PlayStation, and a fucking Wii U, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay," and it's like, "Oh wow, this is like still in the box, quality." You can laugh, it's okay.
No, like we've had this conversation before.
Oh yeah, like this is like mint condition. It's like for all three consoles,
and this expired Children's Place cash,
right?
And...
right. It's like so. Here, what I can do is I'll give you $5 per console. No, God, no, Jesus, what are you fucking crazy? No, you get $5 period, and we will give you this coupon for 20% off your next purchase at GameStop starting next week. Like, get the fuck out of here.
And expires 2 weeks from purchase.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's like all sales are final. One of the first things that I put in my notes was, I wonder what caused them to do this. But what you said actually kind of makes sense. That GameStop has been having issues
for a long time.
Yes, for the last few years, especially with digital game sales. It's been hurting a business model. Stuff like Steam, the PlayStation Store, Microsoft Store, GameFly, if that still exists and is a thing, I guess. I don't know. Brick and mortar stores are not pulling in people for, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just disposable entertainment anyway. These are not like keepsakes and things that, you're going to give your great-grandchildren your copy of GTA 5 or something. Like it
that was the best game ever. I remember. I sat there and played that game forever.
Right. I got your grandmammy pregnant playing Grand. That's how we met each other, shooting each other in the game. We was doing a fist fight in a ring.
It was love at first punch.
Oh yeah, I remember she was hacking. Oh, it was great. She made a meteorite and a Ferris wheel falls in the middle of the street. But yeah, no, they these things are just disposable, entertainment. So as technology has progressed, especially with getting stuff on demand and streaming and things like that, like you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of DVDs and discs and even like things like comic books and things like that. I mean, there's digital comics and stuff. You don't need a big stack of magazines and stuff in your house anymore. You can get subscriptions and read all that stuff online. So it's hard for a company to be competitive, let alone be prosperous in that kind of environment, because no one's going to be, knocking down the doors for them anymore, especially with kind of like I don't want to say like shady business practices, because I mean, it's all on the up and up or whatever. It's just, it's bullshit is what the problem is. It's like they're so cutthroat, I should say, about how they do buybacks and things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. When you buy a game straight out of the box from them, yeah, sure, that's fine. But if you go there and you could give them like I said, the joke I made earlier, you could give them almost a mint condition console and they'll give you like $5 for it. Yeah. And they will turn around and rebox that shit and
sell it for like $300.
Right. It'll be like 2/3 of like its full value, and you'll be like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, oh, it's refurbished. And like, get the fuck out of here. What does that mean? Like, no, motherfucker. It's like, what? Because you put some new paint on this bullshit, and like you changed the shell out. Like, don't make it sound like you rebuilt this console, because they don't. I mean, in some cases, if it's fucked up, sure, because they will take broken shit and shit like that too. But I don't know. They even have a lot of like competition with like third party like resellers, like places like Disc Replay. Now I don't know if that's like a local thing to our state or if that's kind of like everywhere, but
it's the same thing basically.
Yeah, any kind of basically pawn shop for electronics, and games and movies and stuff. Like if you have any kind of thing like that in your town, they will give you much better value for what you paid for it originally and in the condition that you give it to them. Like, I implore you, do not sell anything to GameStop. Please don't. It's a joke. Like, seriously. And then not only that, but the whole experience of shopping there is bad because the customer service is so terrible, and then like their selling practices are really fucked up.
Exactly.
Because like the whole time you're at the counter, the staff will just continue to like bombard you with these offers and club cards and all this other shit. Right. Would you like to get a subscription to Game Informer today? No, thank you. I think I'll pass on that. Oh, that's okay. Would you like to get our 1UP Plus card? No, I'll go ahead and pass on that. What did you know? It would give you discounts on games on future purchases. Yeah, no, that's cool, but I'm just gonna get the game today and just call it good with that. I do appreciate the offer. It does sound like a good deal. It's a very good deal, sir. Did you also know
We sell candy.
Right. You can get a Spider-Man Funko Pop doll for free today if you sign up for our club card. Well, I do love Spider-Man. You know what? I'm gonna pass on it this time. Okay, well, I could just shoot you a text message or something later and remind you about it if you might change your mind. Like, nigga, will you just give me the shit and just let me get the fuck out of here? I'm sorry, I did it again. I did it again. I'm sorry. Anywho, but yeah, no, you aren't all that like avid of a gamer or like that. So it's like a lot of times when you do get a game, do you bother with places like GameStop, or would you more rather go to something like a
Walmart
store,
or online,
Best Buy or something? Yeah. It's like if I'm gonna go to a store, probably ain't gonna be GameStop.
No,
I mean just saying. The
last time I bought a game was online. I got it off Amazon, and the time before that, I got it at Walmart.
See, and it's sad because I mean there's nothing wrong with their selection or anything like that. It's just their business practices are shitty. Like they don't care about. That's why I find it's such a joke where he's like, oh, in an effort to show how much we care about our customers, it's like, yeah, so you're doing this deal for 2 weeks. Wow. I'm like, I could see if this was like we're doing a complete overhaul of our business model.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna I'd be like, you know what, hey, maybe we should give GameStop a chance. I mean, just for example, I mean this is like a breakdown of what exactly they're going to be offering. So for a PS4 original, 500 gigabytes, the old trade-in value used to be $120. Now the new trade-in value is $170. You get an additional $50 value.
Oh, good.
Right. It sounds like the guy, wacky waving inflatable flailing arm too, man.
Don't even. We're not starting that.
I know. I'll do that shit the whole podcast. And then the Xbox One, original 1 terabyte, they were given $90 for it before.
Jeez.
Now, $150. So you get an extra $60. So, and I mean, don't get me wrong. These ain't like crazy unheard of prices, but this is not bad. Xbox One Slim, 2 terabyte, it was $130. They'll now give you $210 for it. So that's an extra $80. So like some of these aren't that bad.
I'm sure you could sell it on Facebook or Craigslist or somewhere else, especially if it was in a good condition, and get way more for it.
You're probably not wrong. I mean, to be honest, shit, you could have motherfuckers on eBay bid for that shit and probably get more than this, but it's I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't know what this is about or where this is coming from, but I quit fucking with GameStop years ago, so I've only gone like a handful of times in like recent years, so I can't say that I don't go there at all, but I have to put on my game face when I go into GameStop and go in there and be like, get my shit, get me the fuck out of here. It's like, no. I don't want none of your shit. I don't want to sign up for shit. Don't offer me shit. Give me my shit and get me the fuck out.
Well, a good way to describe how that is in our town, they're right next to each other. How many times do we go to GameStop over just replay? Yeah, they're like right next door, so it's like sometimes I'll go like do reconnaissance, and see like, okay, well, let me go into GameStop and see what they got this for. Okay, they want like, all right, they want like 120 for this. All right, let me go over here to just replay. Oh, they'll give me like 200 for it. Okay, hell yeah. So yeah, no, I would much rather go to any other brick and mortar store if I got to go to a brick and mortar store than GameStop. So sorry, that's what y'all motherfuckers get. Y'all did this shit to yourselves because it's your fault.
People have been bitching about GameStop for years, so this is on y'all at this point. But anyway, moving on. So I don't know if you've heard, but we were going to get twice as much Deadpool. It seemed like this. Maybe this year. It might have been 2019 when it would have came out. But FX was going to be producing a Deadpool series. And it was slated for a 10-episode season. It was going to be a cartoon. I don't know if it was going to be like a half hour or like a full hour-long show.
Oh, cartoon. I thought we got like double the Ryan Reynolds.
No. No, I mean, look, I like Deadpool for Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is an added bonus. Don't get me
No,
wrong. I love
I
me some
like-
Ryan Reynolds, but
I probably would not enjoy it as much as I do if Ryan Reynolds was not Deadpool.
you know, and I think there's a good portion of the audience that is like that. I don't think it's just you. I mean,
So I had no idea who the fuck.
you can cuss on here. It's
I don't
okay.
want to. But still, I didn't know who he was, what he was about,
Mhm.
and then Ryan Reynolds is just funny.
Mhm.
I enjoy his acting
I
and the way he looks.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm like that's probably more of that than anything.
Because
Like,
look at like my all-time like favorite movie I can watch over and over, The Proposal.
fucking kill me.
Love that movie.
Anyway, so I'm also getting this from comicbook.com. So one of the quotes from Donald Glover's brother, Stephen Glover, they were writing it together, and I believe Donald Glover was a producer as well as a I believe he was gonna play Deadpool in the show. I think Donald Glover was. But his brother said on Twitter, there really was a Taylor Swift episode. Stephen wrote tweet, which that's worded weird, which he has since deleted. It was hilarious, and it definitely was the last straw. Laughing out loud. Stephen Glover didn't stop there. He had more explaining to do about what the Deadpool series could have been. Our show wasn't too black, Glover wrote in another tweet, which has also been deleted. It wasn't really that black at all, but we definitely wanted to give Rick and Morty a run for its money. And I think we would have. Proud of the gang. Yeah, Donald Glover he tweeted out, you know, because I guess there had been some rumors that one of the reasons that FX had canceled the show was that Donald Glover was too busy, because I mean he's in like movies, he produces and is acting in the show Atlanta and all this other stuff, and they were like, oh well, he would just be too tied up with other things to, you know, do it. And he came out and tweeted, for the record, I wasn't too busy to work on Deadpool. And then he turned around and unleashed 14, I guess, pages of like not necessarily what the exact script would have been for the last episode, but something to just give you an idea of the tone of what the show would have been like, you know, because there are some jokes that were in there that were really topical for things that had just recently happened, and it's like, well, there's no way that you had wrote this that far long ago and be talking about something that is this recent. In one of the parts of the script that he had put out, Deadpool says, you know, I'm not mad about this whole canceled thing, because he's making a joke in the final episode of the season that the show got canceled.
Oh.
And he says, you know, I'm not mad about this whole canceled thing. Deadpool said in the script, I mean, is it even a good time to have a violent, gun-loving white man ranting on TV other than the president?
Wow.
And then it says, due to creative differences, my favorite way to have two parties break up that are involved in a project, you know, it's always creative differences, but due to creative differences, FX, Donald Glover, Stephen Glover, and Marvel Television have agreed to part ways on Marvel's Deadpool animated series. FX said in a statement, FX will no longer be involved with the project. Oh man, that just cracked me up. So it really just seems like, I don't think necessarily that FX was ready or really knew what they were kind of getting themselves into, because I mean everybody's seen Deadpool the movie, and you know he's been around in comics and video games for years, so Ryan Reynolds isn't portraying him any more outlandish or crazy than he normally is in the comics. Like, that is basically Deadpool. But I think that I don't think that they quite were ready for how much further like Donald and Stephen Glover had pushed it, because they say some stuff. They talk some shit about Taylor Swift in an episode. Obviously they make some jokes about Trump, a bunch of other stuff. I think like protesting and stuff too. Like, it was very topical humor, and it was very like in your face, and like it didn't pull no punches. And it's been kind of floating around that people think like, oh, you know, they just kind of pussed out and was like, we don't know if we want to be a part of this shit. Like, I know it's Deadpool and all that, but goddamn, now if it had been on FX too, you know, FX isn't like regular network TV.
No,
you know,
it's
that's
not.
cable and shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, it would have been a lot more swearing and violence and blood and shit like that.
Exactly.
So it could have really been Deadpool. But I'm really disappointed because I think that this could have been great, and you could do so much more with him that you couldn't necessarily get away with in a movie. Not because people wouldn't accept it, but because it's hard to suspend your disbelief so much. But when shit's in a cartoon, like think about Looney Tunes cartoons and like Animaniacs or any kind of thing like that, where, you know, Wile E. Coyote and shit, where, you know, the road runners, yeah, like running into a wall or off a cliff, but he doesn't realize that he's off the cliff yet, so he doesn't fall until he notices that there's no ground. You know, you can do stuff like that in a cartoon and you just accept it because you automatically give it a lot more chances to do crazy shit because you know it's not real from the get-go.
Look at Rick and Morty.
Right, exactly. So I think it would be hard to do certain things in a live action movie, even with CG and all that kind of shit, and even with it being like an action comedy, that you would still buy. You know, I think if it was a cartoon, you could, I don't know, like just do anything. I mean, you could have Deadpool rip his fucking skin off and you know, use it as a flag or something. Like you couldn't do that in a movie. Yeah, right, exactly. You could, but it would look weird, and something in your brain would would just be like, no, I can't get with this.
No, you wouldn't comprehend it the same way.
What did you think about this whole thing? Because I mean, as you said, we know that you like Deadpool.
I don't know if I'd really like a cartoon. I might watch, but the movies are just more real and more lifelike.
That's fair.
And I'd rather watch that over a cartoon, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, but to be fair, you just don't like cartoons in general. No. It's so frustrating because you like shit like Frozen and like Moana and all that, and I'm like, these are still cartoons.
I watched like Family Guy and American Dad. And,
sure.
And all those cartoons, I've watched all of those. And the others, like the Cleveland Show. Like I love those shows. Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I think you said Rick and Morty already.
I said that a while ago, but still.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love cartoons. I love anime and all that kind of shit. Which we got an anime story coming up here. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really disappointed, and I think like everybody on the internet was just kind of all had a simultaneous sigh when, you know, it was announced that it was getting canceled, because it was such exciting news when they first said that, yeah, they're going to make a Deadpool cartoon show on FX, and it's like, oh shit!
I'm sure someone will pick it up.
You know, and I was actually going to say that I'd be interested to see if another network picks it up, and if so, who, but this would be dope on Netflix. Like, this...
They could go all out.
This, yeah, because, well, for one, Netflix already does a lot of, like, anime and is starting to do, like, other, like, genres and cartoons and stuff like that. So something like this would help diversify that portfolio of animated stuff that Netflix has, and people would watch it. I mean, most people already have Netflix, and people who don't, who are still a holdout for something like, I don't know about this Netflix thing.
I don't think you'll catch on.
You know, like, is that still around? Is that still a thing? You know, like, people like that, hey, maybe Deadpool, the cartoon, would be the thing that'll finally go like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get that Netflix subscription.
Is that internet thing really going to catch on?
Yeah.
Those are those people.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, no, I hope that somebody picks it up and they get to see this get realized, because I would watch it in a heartbeat. Like, Donald Glover is awesome, so I'd pretty much watch anything he's involved with. So yeah, there's that. So moving on, we're gonna get to the main story, which we're gonna review the Flint series that was on Netflix.
The Netflix original.
Yeah, the Netflix original. Right, like we built Flint. Like, this is all a studio, and everyone is paid actors.
And do you know how they started filming this show?
No.
They were actually in town following Clarissa Shields around.
And Clarissa Shields is?
The boxer who came from Flint.
Okay, you gotta explain this to people who
yes,
don't know.
She is a boxer.
I know who you're talking about.
Came from Flint.
Mm-hmm.
And they were following her around, Netflix was, and it was at the time of the water crisis and all that other big events that happened in Flint, and they just decided to stick around. A team stuck around for, I believe, 2 years, and I think they still want to film more. I don't remember if that's what the article said that I read, but...
Okay. Well, the Netflix original series, Flint Town, it is directed by Zachary Canapari, Dre Cooper, and Jessica Dimmock, or it could be Dimmock, I don't know. Either way. And it's a 8-episode documentary on Netflix that pretty much chronicles the over 2 years,
basically 2 years,
the Flint Police Department mainly, but in general the city of Flint as a whole.
Michigan.
Yeah. Well, no, just Flint, not Michigan. I mean, they didn't talk about Detroit or Grand Blanc.
I'm saying for the people who don't know.
The city of Flint, Michigan. Okay.
The people who don't know where Flint is.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I know. Now, just to give a little bit of background information before we get into this, I am originally from Flint, Michigan. I grew up in Flint, Michigan. Most of my family is either in or from Flint, Michigan. My immediate family. Yeah, my roots are Flint, Michigan.
I was born there. The hospital's in Flint.
Oh, there you go.
I was born in Flint.
This series really hit, home for me especially. I'll say right out the gate and won't even, pretend. And by the way, spoilers. We are going to spoil Netflix original series Flint Town. If you have not seen it, go watch it, then come back and listen to this. There you go.
Well, from the first moment I saw the trailer, I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
I'm glad from the time I saw the trailer to the time it was released, there wasn't a lot of time in between. So
that's one cool thing about Netflix's business model. I mean, with some things, they do put out trailers kind of a ways out, depending. But for most things, it's not too big of a gap between the moment you first see something from it to where it's actually, streaming and you can binge it. But I will say from the outset and won't bury the lead. I really, really, really like this show. I was very... I've heard some kind of dissenting opinions about it here and there, but I was very pleased overall with how the city was portrayed and, how the political infrastructure of the city was portrayed, the police department, things like that. They didn't try to demonize anybody per se, and they didn't try to make anybody look like an angel either. It's
No.
I didn't feel like there was too much favoritism being played, because I've heard people say they trying to make the police look like they ain't out here doing grimy shit, and it's no, they
that happens.
yeah, and I mean, obviously no, I mean, if they can help it, no one's gonna do some shit that they know is gonna make them look bad while they're being filmed for a documentary and shit. Of course not. That being said, I'm sure within that 2-year time frame that they were filming that something could have came up that...
I'm sure something got filmed that...
Yeah, and or at least
wasn't
could have
meant
been filmed.
to,
Yeah.
or that wasn't supposed to, or...
Well, not necessarily not supposed to, but just, would not...
shed the best light.
Yeah, on the police department or just a particular officer in general,
Or the council or anyone like that.
Yeah. I was really surprised that this documentary wasn't strictly about the water crisis to begin with. And I was really glad that it wasn't, because Flint has a lot more problems than just the water crisis. I mean, obviously, if you don't know, much about Flint, Michigan, for many years, like consecutively, I do believe, was the number one highest rated, violent city in America.
Yeah.
And, with a population of, over 100,000 people, like that's crazy. We have a higher, now don't get me wrong, the volume of people who are, the homicides or just violent crimes and stuff like that in the city aren't as high as, say, somewhere like Los Angeles or New York or Chicago or something like that, but just per person, per the capita of your city, for the, however X amount of people that actually live here.
There's so much going on each night.
Yeah,
like,
the
if you
ratio is just...
If you turn the news on, they'll be talking about at least one shooting per night.
Yeah, and that's honestly kind of like a conservative estimate,
I'm
like,
sure there's more.
Yeah. And it gets, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you've seen the documentary, shit's fucked up. Like, Flint is hurting. I mean, between
The abandoned houses, there's not a lot of jobs.
yeah, the gangs, drugs, the lack of jobs, all the shops pulling out and leaving. Then you add the water crisis on top of it, like,
Flint doesn't need another thing.
Yeah, the city has been beat down as far as it can go. And that's why it was nice to see this come along and, like, kind of shine a light on a lot of the things in the city, from violence and the police force. And, like, the first thing that pops up, or one of the first things that you see when the documentary starts, is they say there is 99, I think it was, less than 100
officers.
Yeah,
Yes.
police officers.
Yeah.
For the entire city. And I was like, that is fucking crazy.
And then there wasn't even that many on a shift at a time, and a lot of the times an officer would be the only officer in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So if
they'd have to go investigate a
call
call alone with no backup, no partner, nothing.
Or even they showed an event that it was a shooting or a robbery.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a burglary in Flint. And it took
where
them
they stole
to...
the safe? Or no, that was a different situation.
No. And it was not until the next day that the police
but that was
showed up to the
lady,
house.
Yeah, that was what? Okay, so I went and pulled up because I needed to know, because I didn't want to, like, and the girl cop and the bald cop and the black cop, So I went and tried to, like, find these people's names. I do believe her name is Bridget Belasco. Yeah. She's in a relationship with
Another officer.
Yeah. I think he's Devin Bernritter.
I'm not sure.
No, he's not John Boismere. Robert Frost? Okay, it could be.
I think that's him.
Either way, yeah, I know. We do top-notch research here at One Giant Leap for Geeks. But Bridget, the lady that we meet towards the beginning of the show, she's in a relationship with another officer, and I think it was nice to show that, these cops are people. They have, their home life. There's one of the new kids that come on the force, Dion.
And his mom.
Yeah, Dion and Maria Reed. I was like, that is crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine being on any kind of job with my mother, let alone being cops, and then being in that city. Like, Jesus.
Well, because they even asked her how she felt when he was out by himself or out just on the calls. Mm-hmm. And she said, he's his own man. Like, he knows how to take care of himself. I can't be worried about him. I've got to be worried about myself.
Yeah, I was worried about her as the whole series. I was like, please don't let that boy mama die. But just as a whole, I liked how this shined a light on these people's lives and let them be people. You know, I feel like a lot of times police get a lot of shit. I mean, maybe not necessarily undue shit. I mean, sometimes, too many times, they get caught doing some shit where it's like, yeah, man, that was like excessive force, so y'all didn't have to, you know, shoot that dude or whatever. And I mean, there's a story in the news right now. They killed some dude in his own backyard or whatever, shot him like 8 times or whatever. And they said that in the police report, they said that he was charging at them with an object and they thought he had a gun, but it ended up being a cell phone. And then in the body cam footage, he's actually running from them and they shot him 8 times in the back. And it's like, really? So, yeah, you know, so don't get me wrong. They do some dirty shit sometimes, but it was good to at least try to kind of even the scale some. And like, I'm not with all that, you know, Blue Lives Matter shit, but I don't pretend that these aren't people who are doing a job and are just trying to do the right thing. Like, they are still people. No one
deserves to die.
No, by no means. It was crazy the amount of like national events that happened during this little 2-year time frame.
Oh yeah.
Like the fact that the Dallas police shooting happened, a lot of I don't know if the Black Lives Matter movement started during that time or if it was kind of like hitting its peak during that time.
It might have been hitting its peak.
Yeah, because I know, you know, that was around the time when the Dallas shooting happened.
And the election.
Yeah, the election, the debates. It was
They showed when Bernie came to town. They showed when Trump came to town.
They had the debates here. Yeah, well, we're not in Flint currently. Coming to you live from Flint, Michigan.
Hell no.
Shit, get out.
Hell no.
Oh, that's fucked up. Anyway. Oh, God. But yeah, no, the debates and the election and all that shit. It was crazy. Like, it just kept like coming in waves. So it was, the story itself kept like evolving and changing and becoming like it was almost like it was like an avalanche scenario, like a snowball going down a hill. It kept like picking up other things and absorbing it into the story, and it kept going. Because just like to hear the cops and like their political views, and you know, like when they're sitting in that little SWAT van or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, I don't trust Hillary, and that bitch is a two-faced, you know, this, that, and the other." I was like, God damn.
Yeah, when they were talking about voting, that was election day.
Yeah, no, you were gonna say something.
You got to think about it though. They started the show off by showing how the prior police chief was fired.
Yes.
Like, that's how the show started off. And that was right before Christmas, so.
Yeah, that, now what was his name? Now, it's funny, now I'm getting this directly from Wikipedia. Somebody on Wikipedia is out cold for this shit. Okay, they said James Tolbert, former chief of police, and then it says, comma, fired by Mayor Karen Weaver.
Wow. Like, as soon as she got elected.
Yes, that was like one of the first things she did. It was like, they swore her in. She turned around and pointed at his ass and was like, get the fuck out. I was like, damn. Okay, that didn't actually happen, but she may as well have.
It was one of the first big things, especially it was the first big thing that she did with the police department.
Oh, yeah. And it was so out cold how she did him, though, because the whole time, you know, they were like, you know, Mrs. Weaver, there's been rumors that you were considering firing the chief of police. And she was like, oh, no, you know, I'm not going to do, you know, any kind of, this is not the time to be
I have not made
changing the hierarchy of the police department. She's like, you know, I've been looking at the situation. She's like, I haven't even had a chance to talk to the chief of police yet. This, that, and the other. And then they cut to some little ball or gala thing that they're having for like the police department. It was like, I think it was just the police department's Christmas party.
I think so.
Yeah, it was a fucking Christmas party. And the chief of police, you know, he up there giving a speech, and he let the mayor come up and give a little speech and shit. She's like, oh, no, I ain't gonna take all your time. She's thinking the whole time, yeah, I'm finna take everything from your ass.
Exactly.
And they show him, and he just dancing and drunk and shit, having a good old time. Cut to the next thing.
fired.
I was like, fuck. I felt so bad for that dude, man, because he was only in like the first episode.
He was only in the first episode.
But I was like, you know what? I kind of liked him. I was like, I wanted to see more of him. And then they got rid of his ass so quick. I was like, fuck, man. Like, well, I guess there goes that. But, what did you think about the guy who, she replaced him with, Timothy Johnson?
But wait a minute. The next Netflix original, The Real Story.
Right, yeah. That's what they need to do. They need to have a documentary about the documentary. Shit, what
really happened?
What, tell me more about all this, you getting fired bullshit. Like, how did this really go down? But what did you think about, the new chief of police that she hired, Timothy Johnson?
I liked him.
Didn't he seem like a real hard ass?
He did, but...
He seemed like he had like a military background. He grew up on a base somewhere.
I thought the same thing. He felt very structured.
Shine his shoes at night before he goes to bed.
Very structured and knows how he wants to run a department. And he's got his like baseline ideas of like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to change. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't care. He was like,
we need the Avengers.
We need tanks.
Yeah, I'm like, man, we under a motherfucking water. Motherfuckers got to go to fire stations to get bottled water.
Still.
To bathe, cook, and drink with. But y'all got money to get these motherfuckers tanks and shit? I'm like, get the fuck. And now when we say tanks, kids, we don't actually mean like actual tanks, but... close to fucking enough. It may as well be.
It looks like it could easily sit in front of the prison and it just look fine.
Fuck the bullshit. You could put this shit on a fucking helicarrier and I'd be like, yeah, that looked like that go there. Like if this was in the middle of Iraq, I'd be like, that looks like this is where you would use some shit like this. Yes. Because like every time I see this kind of shit and like the kind of gear and shit that sidebar that like police departments have sometimes, I'm like, who the fuck is y'all planning on fighting? Like, what kind of war zone do you expect to be in where you need all this hardware and all this tactical gear? And I mean, don't get me wrong. Motherfuckers is crazy. And yes, I get that. But tanks, though? Like, do we like for real?
Might have to knock down a door or knock down a fence or...
yeah, to topple a third people world over. Country, whatever, whatever you need to use a tank for. It's all good.
Crush a couple cars that are in the way.
Oh, Lord. I was going to say, I'm like, what is this shit? Fucking Batman? It's just like, he's driving a black tank. Like, sidebar ended. A lot of the places that they showed, like the party store that got closed.
Yeah.
I lived right by that thing. Like, that party store was within walking distance of my house, not even 5 minutes. For real, like blocks away. So I know what that little corner spot was like, and that shit was bad as hell. Like the dude that the cop is yelling at, the store owner and shit, I know him. My cousins and shit know him. Like, we know these motherfuckers. They know our family. I mean, they've been in the city for years, but one of the things... And to be honest, I totally agree. They should need to shut that bitch down. Like okay. Let's look at it from two perspectives, and we'll start off with theirs. It's a fucked up situation that these people have to be there, and, the police are telling them, like, hey, there's too much shit going on. There's, like, people selling drugs outside your store. It's fighting, shooting, and all kind of shit. Prostitutes and shit sucking dick behind the dumpster over here. So there's
all this commotion and illegal shit going on in front of your business.
There are illegal activities outside.
But, it's just a bunch of bullshit going on. Yeah. And the police are basically telling you got to police your property and be like, hey, y'all can't be out here doing this bullshit. Like, y'all get y'all shit and get the fuck on and be gone. It's a shitty situation that they have to be put in a spot where it's like, hey, you got to police the neighborhood, basically. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's on them as well, because what the cop makes a good point in that episode where he's kind of just talking to like the documentarians, and he's like, why is it when you go to a predominantly, black or any kind of minority neighborhood, all you see is liquor store, liquor store, liquor store, liquor store, liquor store. You know, it's like every few blocks it's just liquor store. Like that strip, the street that business is on, it's just a strip of, it's kind of a main road, but not really. But if you go down it from one end to another, all the way through Flint, it's just liquor store, liquor store, liquor store, liquor store, liquor store, like a meat market, maybe a gas station, then liquor store, liquor store, liquor store. And other than that, it's nothing. It's just houses and like parks and stuff like that, because it's the middle of a neighborhood. You could never go to a predominantly white, affluent area and find a liquor store for miles in any direction. Like, if you wanted to go get liquor and cigarettes from the gate, you have to drive out the way to go to get that shit. Now, granted, a gas station that serves alcohol, maybe sure, but I'm talking about like these little party stores and liquor stores and shit where all they sell is fucking Fritos and Hennessy. You know, like that's all we got is in this bitch, and pickles
and lottery tickets.
right, lottery tickets,
Keno.
fucking blunt wraps, Hennessy, and Frito Lay's, some bullshit.
All shit you need at 2 a.m.
Pretty much, right, for a party. And we got Dixie cups. That's all you getting out this motherfucker in a bullet. Shit, if you hang around this bitch too long. So I'm like, you know, you don't see those kind of things. So it's shitty that those businesses have to be responsible for all this other shit that is going on outside the business. But at the same time, when you plop something that is just nothing, all they're doing is pumping out legal drugs, you know, alcohol, cigarettes, all that shit. Like, that's all they're selling. Candy and shit. It's all just legal shit to get you getting high in some degree off of. And when you plop that in the middle of a neighborhood, a poor neighborhood at that, it's going to attract a bunch of shit, because all the people that go there, for the most part, you know, unless you are genuinely going there because you need some chips or a lottery ticket or some bullshit, you know, or right, you know, let me get a Faygo Red and shit. Like, other than that, you ain't going there but to get something to get your high on in some way, shape, or form. So, yes, that's going to attract a bunch of not so, you know, up and up individuals, and some not so positive shit's gonna probably be going on outside. Like, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? It's like,
it's like, look where you're at.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, not only that, but it's like, it wouldn't, I think that some of these neighborhoods wouldn't be as bad as they are if they would pull a lot of that shit out of the neighborhoods. Like, if you get rid of some of all these fucking party stores and shit, it's like the motherfuckers who, you know, need to just get they fix real quick and shit like that, they not hanging around. You don't got like homeless motherfuckers hanging around, you know, outside the party store and this and the other, because it ain't in the neighborhood. They got to go somewhere else for that bullshit. They got to go downtown. In big cities and shit like that, all like the crazy and drug, they are like in the inner city doing that shit. They not like out in the neighborhoods so much so doing that shit, unless it's like a smaller town, you know, but still.
We're getting so off topic.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, this is definitely still a part of it, but we're just not reviewing the show no more. It's just Mike's political soapbox corner. Sorry, I know this is titled One Giant Leap for Geeks, and I swear we do talk about these kinds of things, but these last couple episodes, I feel like it's kind of slid into some slightly political. Yeah, definitely political stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. But other than that, I don't know how far and wide this show went. I mean, it's on Netflix, so, you know, globally, but I don't know, you know, Netflix doesn't put out like their ratings and shit like that. Like, I don't know how much people actually watched, you know, these things. Like, even with the star system, I don't know, it 2 million people voted on that thing. Like, so it don't matter. That's why I'm like,
accurate.
None of that shit means anything. But I want to I want people to see this and to see like the situation that's going on in Flint. I mean, not just with the water crisis and the violence and police and stuff like that, but just like this, you know, we have brought up like the city council and like, you know, the mayor, it kind of seems like
there's so much more.
You know, it's a lot of like shit that's getting overlooked because, you know, Flint's one of those like forgotten, you know, cities. once the shops and stuff pulled out, there was nothing
Bringing people to Flint.
Exactly, right.
They
Nothing
came here
good,
for
at least.
jobs.
Yeah, and then
You get the shops closing, and then all the other big businesses in Flint went.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, if you live in Flint, there's like, I think there's a Walmart, but that's it. Like the Myers or stuff are gone. I think they're closing the Sam's Club in Flint as well. Well, I know they're just closing a bunch of Sam's Clubs in general, but I think that one in Flint may be one of them as well. I don't know. I don't fuck with Sam's Club or Walmart, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I could talk about that damn show forever, but I want to go ahead and wrap this up. I do hope that they get another season made because I'm really looking forward to seeing more of just... I mean, I live around here, so I know how things go and how, the city's been doing.
You want to see how it's built back up from another point of view.
Sure, yeah, that. But I mainly want to see these people again, like the officers.
Yeah.
So I want to check back in and see, like, are, Bridget
just go to their social media and stalk them.
Right. I'm like, what happened to Andre and his mom? You know what I'm saying? Where's the police chief and shit? Like,
well, you can watch Channel 12 News today at 6, 12, and 4.
With Jessica Dupnack. Hey, no, real quick before we finish this shit, shout out to Jessica Dupnack of
ABC 12.
Is it ABC 12?
Yeah, she works for 12.
Because, man, like, she was in that show so damn much. She's in the cast list on this shit for like, people in the show. It's this Jessica Dupnack, ABC 12 news reporter. I was like, yeah, that's our girl, JD Dupnack in the house. No, it was just funny, man. Like, that chick, like, she just cracked me the
obsessed.
fuck up. Like, every time she was on, I was like, oh, there go that Dupnack chick. Between the name and just the way she came off, man, I was like, oh, it was gold.
But I liked that they had her in there because it showed you not just she's not in the police department, but she has other ways of being affected by the police department and working with them.
Mm-hmm. In the city itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, no, we're gonna hope that they do another season, but we haven't heard anything yet, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not 2 years from now, but...
How many people do you think is just walking around Flint with their cell phone being like, Flint Town Season 2?
Right, I know, right. Hey, y'all, my name Tyrone, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here on dating app and shit, ain't no big thing. I'm out here just living life, doing me. I'm just trying to be in season 2 of Flint Town. Y'all can just hook your boy up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got all kind of stories I could be telling, man, out here in these streets, man.
I know every one of them police officers on name basis.
Right. All
We've
these
had many
motherfuckers,
encounters.
Look, we done fought together, shit, got fucked up together. Like, look, I'm out here, man. I am Flint. Flint is in my veins. Look, you need me. If you want this second season to be anything more than dog shit, you need me on this show. I'm just saying. Shit. Call me.
I'm always available.
Right. I'm not doing shit else. Please. Please. Anyway, so Naruto is getting a movie made. If you could see how far her eyes just rolled into the back of her head. But so I didn't know anything about this. I did not know that somebody was making a studio had the rights to it. I didn't know it was being a director involved, a writer, nothing. I was like, wait, what the fuck? I was like, they're making a Naruto movie? I was like, are we for real with this shit?
And it's coming out next week.
Right. I know, like Netflix. So, I'm also getting this. I got a lot of stories this week from comicbook.com. Y'all motherfuckers got a whole bunch of shout outs this week, so y'all need to break me off some for this shit. Anyway, no, thank you, comicbook.com. So, the director of said movie, it's something Gracie. Anyway, he said that, I don't know if it will be my next film, to be honest, the director said.
You know, Kishimoto, who created the original series, he's just a genius. So many Hollywood adaptations of really popular manga series just don't get it right. And for me, what was really important was that if I was going to do Naruto, I wanted to actually work with Kishimoto and get a script to a stage where he would look at it and be excited about realizing it. Because no one knows the world better than the person who created it. And so he's not sure when they're going to have a script completely finished and when it's going to be ready to go, but he has, for all intents and purposes, committed to making the movie, and he is going to direct it, and they are working on it, and he is talking to the guy who created the Naruto series. So for all intents and purposes, you know, they're going to make a Naruto movie. And it's a little bit more from the director. He says, so for me, as it stands, we're still working on the script, because until that script is at a level that I'm excited about, I have no interest in destroying an amazing franchise, as has happened before. But I think Dragon Ball Evolution.
At least he's conscious of it and wants to put out a good product.
Sure. And he also says, but I think the great thing is that everyone involved, from Lionsgate to the producers, are all of the same mind, the director stressed. Everyone knows how precious this property is, and so to me, it's incredibly exciting. And I love the work that I've gotten to do on it to date. At this stage, no one is going to go into production until we've got a script that excites everyone. So whether it's my next movie or not, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So, I mean, who knows when this is coming out, if it ever comes out. I mean, hell, they did make a Ghost in the Shell movie, and I never thought that would be a thing, so who knows. It seems like anime is starting to get more and more breaking into, like, mainstream Hollywood. I mean, they've made a bunch of anime adaptations already. I mean, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Ghost in the Shell, what was the other one recently? Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, there's just been Death Note. Anyway, yeah, I was like, there's one, and it made me mad as fuck, and I couldn't think of what it was, and I'm like, no, there's another one. And I'm like, I still get mad thinking about that.
You blocked that out.
Fuck, I know, right? I felt that was a traumatic event in my life. So, I mean, and like you said, I mean, at least the guy is like, hey, you know, we don't want to just bullshit this. But at the same time, they all say that shit. They all say, like, oh, yeah, no, we're going to make sure that this is going to be, we're serious about it. And we all love Naruto here at Lionsgate. And, you know, my son is named Sasuke Uchiha, so you should know.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, but yeah, after Full Metal Alchemist, and there was the Attack on Titan movie, Death Note, the Dragon Ball movie. I can't get excited for anime adaptations no more. I mean,
neither can I.
I would love to see, you know, a Naruto movie be good, but for one, there's too much source material. You cannot do that shit justice in a movie. Unless you're gonna make like 20 movies, you're not going to do it justice. Everybody's going to be mad. Even if you try to cram in a bunch of shit, people are going to be mad if you put too much shit in it. If you don't put in enough shit or cut it off too early,
they're just going to be mad.
They're going to be like, oh, it was just all set up and nothing actually happened. So, you know, it's like, you have to make it a show. Like, that's what I keep saying over and over and over again. That's the problem. It's not that anime adaptations into live action can't be done. It's just that you have to have two things. And these two things don't usually go hand in hand. You have to have a lot of time and a lot of money. No, I'm serious. Because usually they have the money part. Mm-hmm. They don't have the time part. They'll say, we'll put up $50, $100, $150 million, $200 million, you know, for a movie, $250 million for a movie. But we got, you know, X amount of months to film this and get it into post-production and all that and get it out and call it good. But when it's the other way around and you have a series, you have a whole bunch of time. You can do a whole season spread off, you know, over the course of a few months, but you don't have a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So if we could get both those things together, we could actually have a great anime live action adaptation. Just give them all that Game of Thrones money and give them like a 25 episode season.
hour-long episodes apiece, dope. You could do whatever you wanted to do at that point. You'd have all the money to do all the CG and give it justice, have all your fights. Think about how dope Daredevil was. And I hated the fucking Punisher, but you liked it.
I liked it.
But think about how good, the Punisher was, or whatever, Jessica Jones, whatever you want to pick from, these Netflix series or any, show, Game of Thrones, something like that. It's not an issue of it can't be adapted, but you can't keep trying to make these things that were meant to be long-form stories into these truncated, short 2-hour movies.
You can't rush it.
No, because you got to cut out and condense so much shit to where it's like, even if you just want to tell one story arc and not the whole series, you still can't do it justice in a 2-hour movie. You
There's
just
still
can't.
gonna be stuff missing.
If you are a fan of the Harry Potter books, then you know what I'm talking about. Or any kind of, long form literature. You know what I mean. Like
You can't do that in one movie.
Yeah, and even Harry Potter, they had 7 movies.
Lord of
and
the
I'm sorry,
Rings,
was it 7 or 8 movies? Yeah, it was 7
movies.
books, 8 movies. And they still cut out a whole bunch of shit from every fucking movie. The last movie was split up into 2 parts. It was 1 book, and they still cut a bunch of shit out. So, I mean, you can do it, but you can't keep trying to make movies out of this. If you're going to make a movie, it has to be based off an anime movie. It can't be based off an anime series. It doesn't work. It never does. I don't, I appreciate that Hollywood is trying to be more accepting of anime culture and go like, hey, there's a fan base here and there's money to be made here. For example, I guess, and now I haven't seen either one of these yet, but I have seen that there is a little Easter egg of Gundam and Pacific Rim 2 and in Ready Player One. So it's like these are, big movies that are coming out like back to back right behind each other, and they both have references to anime, but one specific show in general, but still. And then with Ghost in the Shell and, unfortunately, Death Note and shit like that coming out, these things have been getting more traction. And, I appreciate that they're trying, but they're just not quite getting it right. It's kind of like the cinematic universe thing. It's like, everybody want to be Marvel, but it's like the dark universe. Like, we're going to have the Mummy and the Wolfman and Frankenstein all fight with Tom Cruise for some reason. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll, I guess? Like, what is this dumb shit? Yeah, so God, that's terrible. The Dooku, still Nat from Thank You Funhouse for that. The Dooku. It's the Dark Universe, Cinematic Universe.
Oh, yeah.
The Dooku.
Yeah. I'm like, I've heard that before.
Yeah. I don't mind them changing like the characters' appearances or the setting. As long as the spirits of the characters and the core of what the story is still there, I'm totally fine with them changing stuff. But just make it a series. Don't do a movie. Like, I have no idea, how they're gonna make this, because just Naruto in general has such crazy concepts and like the fights and the little jutsus and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'd be interested to see if they do Naruto's sexy jutsu. Like, you have no frame of reference to that, but anybody that's listening to this that watches
That
Naruto,
sounds funny.
basically he can clone himself, but in one like variation of that, he can make himself into like a girl, like a sexy girl, and it's supposed to distract his opponents. It is like the dumb.
Okay, we don't need to go down that.
It's some of that anime logic that you just got to kind of go with and just let it go.
I'm gonna let it go. All right.
Yeah. But I mean, if they do make this into a movie, like the budget for this shit is going to be huge, unless they go cheap and make it chintzy and just make another Dragon Ball Evolution again, because that's what we all wanted. But yeah, after Avatar: The Last Airbender, I'm just worried that the fights are going to look dumb and ridiculous, because the fights in Avatar: The Last Airbender looked just retarded. I know people say you're not supposed to use that word no more, but fuck it. It was bad. It was really fucking bad. I don't know. I'm waiting to see how they will, do this when they do it, and I'm curious to see if they're just going to whitewash the whole thing, and it'll be like, Macaulay Culkin is Naruto.
Oh, God.
Zac Efron is Sasuke Uchiha. Oh man, motherfuckers would be
They
mad
can
as
just wipe
hell.
that all gone.
Woo! But to be fair, Naruto is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed character. So, I mean, I know a lot of people have that argument of some people think that anime characters are drawn to look white. Other people say they're just Japanese, but because you're white, you see the characters as white. So I don't fucking know. I mean, me personally, I'll put my 2 cents in. I've kind of always thought they drew them to look like white people thing. Like that's kind of always been my thing. Now there's some characters that look distinctly, like Asian or Japanese or whatever that they draw. Like, okay, for a perfect example, in Naruto himself looks like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boy. Rock Lee looks like basically a caricature of fucking Bruce Lee. Like, so much so to the point where I'm pretty sure that's why he's called Rock Lee, is because it's a play off Bruce Lee. I mean, he has the bowl haircut and everything, and he has kind of like thick eyebrows, and I call them bushy brows or something like that. It's so dumb. Anyway, but no, Rock Lee is clearly very Asian, and you can tell immediately the way he's drawn, the way he's colored, everything. But Naruto Uzumaki is his name, looks like a white boy. Sasuke Uchiha looks like a white. He looks like one of them counterculture white boys that would have like a chain hanging from his wallet to his belt and shit, and like his pants are all shredded and frayed at the bottom, and he has like a bunch of weird
Like
metal
he belonged
rings.
in the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah, right. He looked like he'd wear a lot of trench coats and shit. Like Sasuke looked like a grunge ass, like he's like a backup vocalist for Nirvana or some shit. But yeah, I don't know. I'm telling you. But get ready, kids. Like I said, Zac Efron is Sasuke Uchiha, so be ready for that shit. And they'll probably change it up even more to try to make it more diverse. And The Rock will be Naruto, and Zac Efron will be Sasuke. And there you go. There's your movie. Boom. Go Hollywood. You're welcome.
Oh my god.
All right. For our last story, we're gonna talk about this bullshit ass X-Men series that we still are riding this train on to the very end. Now, let's say real quick at the forefront, Amber really likes, or
Yeah,
just
I've
likes.
seen them all. I really like them.
Okay, really likes the X-Men movies. I have varying degrees of like to them. I like the first 2. And I really like X-Men First Class. The rest are shit. Okay, no, I won't say that. Days of Future Past is okay. But X-Men 3, bullshit. X-Men Origins Wolverine, bullshit. X-Men Apocalypse, bullshit.
I liked them all.
I don't think you watched X-Men Apocalypse.
I think I did.
I watched it. I thought I watched it by myself.
No,
at
I
home,
think-
but you might have.
We watched it together.
Either way, it was bullshit. I'm sorry, it was. So Fox, if you didn't know, if you've been living, somewhere under a rock. Well, I mean, I guess not under a rock. Not everybody listens or is into this kind of shit that, we are. So whatever. But and if you didn't know, Disney is in the process of acquiring Fox Studios and their entertainment branches. Like they won't be taking Fox News or Fox Sports, but like Fox Entertainment,
Scooping
Fox
up
Studios.
all their
They're taking the
movie
properties
shits.
and all that kind of stuff. And the deal has gone through, but like the government still has to approve it, and it could be anywhere from 6 to 18 months or something crazy like that, maybe even longer, who knows, until the deal has been finalized completely and it's gone through. And in the meantime, Fox has just decided, okay, we just finna crank out as much Marvel shit as we possibly can before Disney buy all this shit back and we ain't got no fucking jobs. Because I already talked about a couple weeks ago a story about how between now and 2020, I think they're making like 8 X-Men movies or X-Men related movies.
Good lord.
Deadpool, it will be having a sequel that's coming out. They're doing the New Mutants, the Dark Phoenix movie, and then like 5 other X-Men type movies that I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck they even making at this point. Everybody gets a movie. We finna have a Magneto spinoff, a Professor Xavier spinoff, Beast finna get his own movie. Oh man, the motherfucker from the first X-Men, Toad that had the tongue and shit, he getting a movie, all that shit.
The little girl from the Logan movie.
Oh god. Well, X-20, I would actually prefer if that's where they go. Like in the comics, she becomes like the new Wolverine. So if that's what they did going forward, I'd be totally with that. She was dope as fuck in that movie. So shit, hell yeah. But right, and you get a movie. But anyway, so just to give a little bit more clarity, what is happening is New Mutants has already been pushed back. Now, they've been saying that there's been needing to be some reshoots and things like that, and they're going to add some characters and try to make it scarier and this, that, and the other. But the movie was originally supposed to come out April 13th of 2018, this year. They pushed it back until February of 2019. Now they have pushed it back again to August 2nd of 2019. They may as well just say this shit ain't ever coming out at this point, because by the time this shit does come out, Disney will own this shit and they gonna just put the kibosh on all this bullshit anyway, because I'm sorry, that's why I'm like, I am keeping all these X-Men movies and shit at arm's length. Deadpool too, I'm keeping all this shit at arm's length, because I'm like, any minute that mouse finna come in here and put a stop to all this bullshit. I'm like,
that mouse.
That mouse don't play. That mouse ain't finna let y'all fuck up none of his cinematic universe he got over here with Marvel. He like, if y'all want to be a part of this shit, y'all gotta dead everything before this. Like when we don't even have Spider-Man completely. We got him on loan from Sony. And they like, if you want Spider-Man to be in this shit right here, in our Avengers, we need a new actor. We don't give a fuck. Yeah, y'all made Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 and y'all wanted to make 3. No, that shit dead. We starting over. Sinister Six, kill that shit. Aunt May spinoff, that's dead too. Fuck Gwen Stacy, all that shit. Dead. We ain't doing none of that. We are starting fresh. We ain't doing no Uncle Ben's. Aunt May finna be sexy. We starting a whole new shit. Look, the first time you see Spider-Man, we gonna let you know we put our stank on that shit. Because the first time you see Spider-Man, what the fuck he got? Captain America shield in his hand. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you see this new Spider-Man, you know this our motherfucking Spider-Man. Like, we crossing off all the other bullshit. That's why I'm like, this Fox shit that they doing, I'm like, yeah, this New Mutant shit, it looks like it might be cool. I'm through with the X-Men, like, main franchise. Like, after Apocalypse, I was like, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all want to do with this shit no more. I'm done. So, I know that if they keep pushing this back, I feel like a big part of it is they either don't know what they, or don't like what they've put together so far. And I mean, a lot of movies go through reshoots and things like that. That's
in the trailer, it looked like a freaking horror film.
But that's what they are going for. I mean, as a matter of fact, here, I'll read you a direct quote. And thank you comicbook.com for another story. 20th Century Fox other property, New Mutants, is also in the process of even more significant reshoots after having its release date delayed nearly an entire year. The film will add new characters to round out the movie as well as make it scarier. Overhauling the majority of the film, almost half the movie is supposedly being reshot. Yeah, so it says the original version of the film is directed by Josh Boone, so a holdup has prompted the film to push back its release date once again to August 2nd, 2019.
They basically scrapped the whole thing and started over.
It sounds like they finna pull a Justice League with this bullshit. For real. Like, they like, man, we finna, look, new paint, new shrubs. Like, we getting a new director in here. We finna rewrite a bunch of scenes and shit. They're like, nah, we ain't finna completely scrap this shit. We ain't spending all that kind of money.
We'll save some of the good parts.
Right. We'll keep a framework to work around, but, you know, all the inside stuff, we're gonna have to, you know, dead that shit and start over. Everything's dead tonight. Dead. It's... but, yeah, now as far as X-Men Dark Phoenix, They say that after testing the film, 20th Century Fox has elected to bring the film back into production ahead of its release. They will have a significant roadblock in doing so, however, as its titular Dark Phoenix actress, Sophie Turner, will be heavily tied up with obligations to Game of Thrones' final season through September. The film has already been pushed back to a Valentine's Day in 2019, which I guess that kind of sort of makes sense because they were wanting to do... They were going to do New Mutants in February, but since they have to push this back, it kind of makes sense why they would push it back even further, you know, to August. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I don't know what the fuck they finna do. Like,
There ain't gonna be a new X-Men movie.
I honestly hope not. Like, I hope that they dead X-Men, kill this New Mutants bullshit. Please, for the love of God, don't make another goddamn Fantastic Four. And
I liked the first one.
the one with Chris Evans. Yeah.
I like that one.
I mean, the first two Fantastic Four movies are dumb fun. They're harmless. They're okay. This last one though,
Something we
Jesus
watch on like
fucking-
a Sunday afternoon
Sure.
when we got shit to do.
Right. It's like, hey, it's on. Why not? You know, you get a couple laughs in there and then call it good. But
It's not a wasted time.
yeah, but this new, or I'm sorry, the Dark Phoenix movie, they are going to just murder the Phoenix Saga. Like, if you have not read the Phoenix Saga and the X-Men comics, please do so. Or if you don't want to read the comics, please go back, watch the 90s animated TV show. They do the Dark Phoenix Saga in that, and it is so good. I don't give a fuck what they say they finna do in this Dark Phoenix movie. It's not gonna do it justice, because the whole point of what makes the Dark Phoenix story so good is the fact that Jean Grey, once she gets possessed with the Phoenix, is not the powers that she gets or anything like that. That makes the story good. It's how it changes her character, because Jean Grey is like this good girl, goody two-shoe. She's with Cyclops, who's like the Boy Scout of the group, this, that, and the other. And then Logan, like the bad boy, rough dude, he's all up on her shit, but she's always like, no, I love Scott, and I have my virtues, and this, that, and the other. And she's just very, just this upright, like, I would never, like, I cannot believe you would approach me with this, that, and the other. But when she gets the Phoenix Center, she becomes the bad girl, and then she's all like, oh yeah, I do like you, Wolverine, and all that flirting and shit you used to do with me back in the day. Like, yeah, I'm ready to give you this pussy now. Like, what's good? And he like, oh shit, like, I don't even know. And she like, man, fuck a Cyclops, Scott ain't shit. Like, that's what made the story so good, was because she does a complete 180, and it's just like, wow, you've never seen her like this. They can't do that with this movie, because I've only seen her as Jean Grey in one other fucking movie, and I didn't like her in that movie, so now all of a sudden it's like the Dark Phoenix, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck, I don't even barely even know who this bitch is. So it's just like, whatever, man. But the guy who's been the producer on all these movies up until this point, Simon Kinberg, he's directing this movie, and he has never directed anything at all. Supposedly, it was rumored that Simon Kinberg reshot the Fantastic Four movie after Josh Trank got fired from that. We don't know that for sure, but if he did, the shit that was reshot was dog shit. So that does not give me any hope for this being good at all. But besides that, though, the New Mutants, they're getting, you know, a few new characters. Obviously, like they said, they're going to be rumored to be reshooting over half of it. So at this point, it's like, that's not reshoots. Y'all are just remaking the movie at that point. Like,
you're just hitting the erase button.
Pretty much. I'm like, there's one thing to say, oh, hey, we want to add a scene or we want to tweak something here and there. It's another thing to say, we going to redo half the fucking movie. Like, that's, like I said, they finna pull a Justice League with this shit. And it's just going to turn out to be a cobbled together mess. At least, with this, the one thing that I can say I could kind of be looking forward to with X-Men Dark Phoenix is they did put out a set photo, and it does look like they are leaning more towards their traditional blue and yellow spandex. Yes, I want the blue and yellow spandex. Yes, costumes from the comics. That's what made X-Men visually so striking and different from the other superhero characters, is because they had like matching uniforms, but each character's uniform was different and kind of fit their personality or whatever. Still, that ain't enough to make a good fucking movie, all right? You can't make a good story because now you're wearing comic accurate costumes. Like if it's a bullshit movie, it's a bullshit movie. So whatever. Anyway, I am sorry. I mean, I know that, you know, there's a fan base for the X-Men movies. I know that you like the X-Men movies.
My mom.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know. I mean, it could be good. I don't think these movies are ever going to come out. I mean, plus, I haven't even got to the main reason of why I don't think they're going to come out is because supposedly in X-Men Dark Phoenix, they are going to be using the Skrulls, who are this alien race of like shape-shifting characters that Fox / Marvel both kind of sort of own in different ways. Well, apparently it's going to be like how it was when Apocalypse came out. Oh, I'm sorry, when X-Men Days of Future Past came out, and when the Avengers Age of Ultron came out, where they had Quicksilver in both movies.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, because they both own the characters. So, yeah, so with the Skrulls, Fox owns them and Marvel owns them, and they're going to be using the Skrulls as the villains in Captain Marvel's movie, but then supposedly they might be using them in the X-Men Dark Phoenix movie. That's why I'm really like, Disney ain't finna let this shit fly. They like, no, we let that shit go once because we ain't have a choice with that Quicksilver bullshit, but we ain't finna do that shit. Because you see what they did? They said, oh, they put Quicksilver in X-Men? Kill Quicksilver. It was like, but we just put him in there. We just introduced him in there. I want him dead. Well, he has super speed. We gotta think. You gotta give us more time to figure out how to kill him. Shoot that motherfucker with bullets, but he has super speed. That don't really make. Shoot him dead. I want him gone. That mouse ain't fucking play. You heard what the mouse said. I want him fucking dead.
Oh my god.
I want that son of a bitch legs broken.
Oh my god.
Oh. I told you that mouse don't play.
That mouse don't.
Anything else that you want to add to the whole X-Men
No, not really.
debacle?
Not really.
So, are you, I mean,
I'd watch it.
I was going to say, with everything that you know about it now, with it being pushed back and it being reshot, would you still be interested in seeing New Mutants?
Probably, yeah. From watching the trailer, it made my heart jump, so.
See, but that's the thing, though. I don't even know if that's going to be the movie that we see when it comes out. What was in that trailer might, none of that, like the shit with the hand and the dryer. That might not even be in the fucking movie.
Still, I would still give it a chance. I'd give everything a chance, so.
Yeah.
Unless it's extreme bullshit, then I don't even fuck with it.
But yeah, no, we'll see how it goes. I don't have faith in Fox, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it for the show. Remember, you can always find us at our home, onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com, or on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, etc. So then we know that you enjoy what we do here. If you got any questions that you want us to answer on the show, any comments, criticisms, or you just want to say hi, you can email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, and on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Tumblr, and Instagram. Just search for One Giant Leap for Geeks.
Bye.